So I'm 20 years old and I think I made around $170,000 last month. I'm honestly not too sure. I haven't really ran the numbers, but today I'm going to be talking about the harsh reality of what it's like to actually get rich at 20 years old. As a lot of you guys know, I started this journey back in January. I made $300 my first month. Now I'm here. And one thing that I've noticed at this point, I've talked to a lot of people that say, oh, I want to get rich, I want to be in your position. But truly, no one really wants it, because if you really wanted to be in my position, if you really wanted it bad enough, you would genuinely figure out a way to make it happen no matter what. I don't have a special ability that you don't have. I don't know something that you don't know. I just wanted it more than you. That's as simple as I can make it. And of course, there are people that are going to say, oh, that's not true. You know this, that, you have the connections, but that's all cool. I made my first $100,000 without knowing anyone, without talking to anyone. It was all me. So I would consider myself self-made. Obviously, I had God on my side the entire time. He gave me the ability to go do it, and he gave me the vision. And yeah, I just tried to do everything through him. But anyways, the real reality is no one really wants it as bad as they say they do. Everyone wants the view, but no one wants to climb. I went through so much shit on this journey. In January, I was kind of depressed a little bit still. I kind of made the decision to just go all in. Because my life was already kind of shit. And to me, it couldn't get any worse from what it already was. So I was just like, fuck it, let's just do it. And in January, I had like no little bumps. I started to see a lot of progress. And then in February, I had a big bump. I found out my girlfriend cheated on me, and that's what really pushed me to go even harder. And in February, I saw massive progress, made 10K. And then in March, I was in fire school. I was gonna be a firefighter. Even though I didn't want to do it at all, my parents were kind of just making me do it. But besides that, I made 25K in March, and I ended up dropping out of firefighter school. In April, nothing really happened, except that was probably the loneliest I've ever been. I didn't really talk to anyone. Again, I was just locked in for the past 3 months, and I didn't really have any social connections. I remember one time I was driving to HEB, and I was so lonely, and I was just sitting there like, fuck, this sucks. And that same night, whenever I got back home, I started to cuddle with my pillow. I know this sounds so stupid, but I kind of imagined as if it was like a person that I really loved, like my mom. I was so lonely, bro. I didn't talk to anyone. All my friends were in my phone. All my family was in my phone. Obviously, I had friends that I could reach out to and friends that I could hang out with that were near me. But I knew that I had to go through this to get what I wanted. I had the tunnel vision. I knew exactly what I wanted, and I knew exactly what I had to give to get it. So yeah, I was willing to be lonely for a little bit, because I know that lonely period is what really builds you. Again, my mindset was, if I can get through this, I can get through anything, any hurdle, any challenge that comes my way. And yeah, that was a pretty tough month, but I made it through. And in April, that's when I also got a real relationship with God. That's when my life completely altered as well. Coming into May, I started to go to church again. I started to pray again. I'm not gonna lie, God really saved my life. Whenever you find a real relationship with God, that's when you realize you don't need anyone else. You don't need all the materialistic shit. As long as you have faith and you have the relationship, that's all you really need. Right? I could be the richest man in the world, have all these hoes, have all this money, whatever it is. But if I don't have God, will I ever be fulfilled? No. And that's what you guys have to realize. This is what I'm really big on. Bro, you need to get a relationship with God if you really want to get rich, if you really want to get everything you ever wanted. It's as simple as that. God is always there for me whenever no one else was. Even whenever I wasn't there for myself, God was there. But yeah, in May, I started hanging out with people again. I started to be extremely happy, extremely grateful. And I made $62,000 that month. And then in June, I started to travel a lot. I would think I went to from June to July, I went to 8 cities in 8 weeks. In June, I made 92K. In July, I think I made 120K. And now in this month of August, obviously I just said around 160, 170. But you guys have to realize, I wouldn't make the amount of money I made today if it weren't for the past 7 months. Because every single thing in life has a compound effect. I talk about this a lot, but consistency compounds at the end of the day. If I didn't sacrifice those first 4 or 5 months in the beginning where I was super alone, I probably wouldn't be at this point right now. And that's another thing I want to talk about. You have to be okay with sacrificing everything. And you guys are gonna be like, whoa, no, I need balance. I need to talk to my friends. I need to play the video games. I need my girlfriend. And if you want that, that's fine. You can live that life. But if you really want to achieve all the things that you dream of, driving the Lamborghini, making 6 figures a month, being the person who everyone looks up to, you have to kind of be crazy. And by crazy, I guess you could say delusional. People are going to look at you like, holy shit, you're so obsessed. Just take a break. And there were people around me that looked at me like that. And to me, that's an accomplishment, bro. I don't want to be normal. I want to be in the top 1% of the 1%. I was willing to give everything that I had to get everything that I wanted. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that. And if you're not willing to do that, you're not gonna get what you want. You can have anything in the world that you want, but you can't have everything. You have to give to receive. And it's as simple as that. If you can't comprehend that fact, then you're never going to get it. Like the simplest thing I can tell you guys, if you're not willing to sacrifice for your goals, then your goals become the sacrifice. It's that fucking simple. Like I used to play Fortnite all the time. I haven't touched Fortnite. Actually, I did touch it in June after I made 12K in a day. That's the only time that I touched it. I played video games once in the past 7 months. I've watched TV maybe about like 2-3 times in the past 7 months. Bro, all I fucking do is work. You have to be obsessed with what you do, because obsession beats talent at the end of the day. Like you literally have to think and breathe work all day. That's all I do. If I'm not working, I'm thinking about working. If I'm not thinking about working, I'm asleep. Like you genuinely have to just need it. Like need that successfulness. And whenever I say need, obviously like from a mental standpoint, whatever you need, it's an indication that you don't have it, and you can't have what you don't already have. Like obviously you don't need it, because the more you need something, the more you push it away. But in a sense, you have to need it so bad. Like, oh, I need to make this work. I need to make this work. This has to work. And once you come to that realization and have that mindset, that's when everything starts to work out for you, because your brain will find ways to make it work no matter what. Like whenever you're starving, you haven't eaten in a couple days, all you care about is eating, right? That's all you can think about. Whenever you just got done working out, you're sweating your ass off, you're super tired, all you want to do is drink water. And whenever you're underwater, you can't breathe, all you want to do is breathe. That's all you can think about. Whenever it comes to the point where all you can think about is becoming successful, and it becomes a need, not just a want, that's whenever it shifts and everything clicks. And that's when you find a way, no matter what it takes. You have to need it. As bad as you want to breathe, as bad as you want to eat, as bad as you want to drink water. Now obviously keep that need in the back of your mind, and then just detach from it, because detachment is everything. The less you worry about something, the more likely it is to come to you. And after a couple months, that need becomes a reality. And that kind of brings me to another point. If you have a real why, you're never gonna need motivation. You're just gonna need to get after it. Like I have multiple whys for me. I'm sure you guys know. One of the main ones is my girlfriend cheated on me. Like this sounds really corny, but I want to make sure that she sees the life that I live now, and she's like, damn, I fucked up. She feels bad. Like that's a huge why. Oh, you're so corny, bro. I don't give a fuck. That's just me being real. Another big why that I have is last year my best friend died in July 2024. He would have been my best man at my wedding, I promise you that. He would have been rich with me right now if he didn't die. I can promise you that. We used to always talking about getting rich off dropshipping together. Obviously I didn't get rich off dropshipping now, but we used to always talk about like, yeah, one day we're gonna be super rich, we're gonna have houses right next to each other, all this stuff, bro. Like we would fantasize about it. And now he's not here, so what do I have to do? I have to fulfill it just because he doesn't have the ability to. Like it's literally a disgrace if I don't fulfill the potential that I was given by God. And I know he's looking down at me and he's proud, because I literally did everything I told him that we were gonna do. And once you find your real why, you can bear literally anything. And it has to be bigger than just you. Like again, my 2 big whys are not about me. And yes, you need to do it for you, but I promise you, if you have something external that's motivating you, it'll push you way further. There are days when I'm not motivated and I don't want to get up and I just want to lay in bed. And on those days, I just think to myself like, damn, I was blessed with another day by God. My best friend wasn't. So am I really gonna just let that slide? Am I not gonna do anything with this day today? And I say, fuck no, I'm gonna make the most out of today, and I get the fuck up and I get straight to work. And obviously I wanted to get rich for myself as well, but again, it's bigger than me. And one final thing I kind of want to touch on here is, if you really want to get rich, you cannot give a fuck about your mental health at all. Like every day I wake up, I don't care how I feel. I just show up. The motivation is not there anymore. The only thing that's there is the discipline and the routine. Like imagine if I would have just, taken days off whenever I felt bad. Do you think I would be at this point today? Fuck no. Bro, if you really want to be successful, think of like Elon Musk. Think of like Bill Gates. All those guys, they work like 16, 18 hours a day. Jeff Bezos, bro, I swear, I heard a report that said Elon Musk works like 20 hours a day. He barely even sleeps. All he's doing is innovating and thinking, how can he get Tesla to that next level? And you have to be that obsessed. You can never give a fuck how you feel. I just simply ask myself this one question, what would the best version of myself do today? And if he's gonna do the work, if he's gonna go to the gym, if he's gonna do this or do that, I'm gonna fucking do it. Because that's who I wanna become. The only way I become that person is by just aligning. He doesn't give a fuck about his mental health. He shows up every single day. He takes care of his body and he pushes himself to his limits no matter what. And one of the things that really haunts me at the end of the day is, what if I don't fulfill my potential? Me and one of my friends were talking about this earlier today. Like, I never want to look back on my life and be like, damn, I should have done this. Damn, I should have done that. Damn, I wish I could have done more. Like, why wish whenever you have the opportunity right now? I don't want to die with dreams or aspirations. I really want to become who God gave me the ability and the tools to become. And that might not make sense to some of y'all, but for me, it makes complete sense. Like, I hope you guys realize the richest place on the world, it's not the bank, it's not an island, or it's not any of these other places that you guys think it might be. The richest place on earth is the graveyard. It's because there are so many people in there that could have been musicians, could have, invented the next light bulb or change our life in general. But yet they were just too scared to act on it, and they just didn't act on it in general. And that really scares me. Like, I remember earlier this year, I went to a graveyard with my mom to go see my grandma's grave, and I was just thinking, like, damn, I wonder how many people here were not satisfied with the life that they lived because they didn't go all in, because they didn't actually do what they wanted to do, because they didn't actually chase their dreams. And that's something that genuinely fucking scares me every single night. And I never want to have to worry about that. So I'm gonna do my best every single day and show up no matter what. I don't give a fuck how I feel. I don't care what anyone else has to say. I'm just gonna do the work. It's kind of crazy to consistently put yourself through things that you don't want to do. And that's why the most successful people get called crazy, because they're willing to do what no one else is willing to do. There's a reason why the top 1% are in the top 1%. You want to be in the top 1%, you got to do what they do. I consistently do things that I don't want to do every single day just because I know they will push me closer to get to where I want to get to. Anytime I feel like shit, I don't cope with drinking, I don't cope with smoking, I don't cope with video games as bad as I want to do. You know what I cope with instead though? I cope with fucking work. I post more videos, I review more sales calls, I hop on more sales calls, I follow up with people. That's how I cope. And if you really want to get to this point, that's what you kind of have to do. I don't give a fuck how I feel. I'm just gonna get to work. Because I know if I just get through one more hour of work, I'm gonna feel very fucking grateful that I did at the end of it. It may not feel good right now, but it's gonna feel good later. It's kind of like whenever you don't want to work out, but you still go to the gym anyways. After like 10 minutes, you're like, holy shit, I feel great. Like, I can't believe I almost missed out on this workout. That's the exact type of mindset I have with work. I know that if I can just get past this first 15-minute block, then I'm gonna be smooth sailing from there. So yeah, that's the harsh truth of getting rich at 20 years old. Like, you watching this video, you might think you want it, but if you really wanted it as bad as you said you did, you'd have already been in motion. You'd have already been trying to figure it out. You would have already been trying to fail. And you think watching all these videos is actually getting you closer to your goal, but it's really not. Because the only thing that actually takes you to where you want to get to is the work. That's the only way to really move the needle. It's gonna fucking suck. That's why 99% of people don't get this life, because they're not willing to do what the 1% are willing to do. So yeah, my life kind of fucking sucked for the past 7 months, but I wouldn't trade it for anything, because at the end of the day, I'm truly happier than I've ever been just because I did the hard things. I showed up every single day even though I didn't want to. Like, there's this quote I heard, if you do the hard things, your life will be a lot easier. But if you do the easy things, your life will be a lot harder. I've been on both sides of the ball, right? Like I said earlier, I used to be depressed. I used to be suicidal. I used to hate my life. I would just stay in bed literally all day. I would do nothing but just cry, sleep, drink, and smoke. And it was really hard. But you know what else is really hard? Showing up every single day and putting in the work. So choose your hard. Which life do you want to live? The shitty life that's hard, or the good life that's hard? So I hope you use your ability that you've been given to your advantage and make not just yourself proud, but the people around you proud. But again, it's not for everyone. You can just live a completely normal life. It's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But just remember, this is your only life. Whenever you're sitting on your deathbed, you're not going to be able to reverse time and do the things that you wanted to do or put in more work. The only thing you're going to be able to do at that moment is just regret that you did it. So take advantage while you have time now. A man has 2 lives. The second one begins when he realizes that he only has one.